funny story actually about the release of GTA 5. I knew my mum was not going to approve of me playing the game. So
What'd you tell her it was?
I ordered it online and told her it was antivirus for my computer.
Wow.
With
An
like,
antivirus
the
called
DVD
Grand Theft Auto
case
5.
rocked up.
Your poor mum.
Well, she didn't see the
You've just
case.
made
I
a mug of her.
hid the case. But I ordered it online. I was like, yeah, I just ordered some antivirus online. I don't know why I felt like I needed to tell her that off the bat. It would have been very suspicious.
She's like, that's a
but anyhow.
strange thing to just come and tell me right now.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Press Start Podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. James is wincing already. I'm your host, Ewan, and I'm joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Shannon.
Hello.
James.
Hello.
And Brodie.
Hello.
Was that intro just a little bit too energetic for you, James? Was I just coming too harshly?
Wake up.
Just
It might have peaked.
The painkillers haven't kicked in yet. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot you had a
double
headache.
dose.
I'm sorry.
Brand name painkillers.
Look, on today's show, we're going to be talking about a review that Brodie's done, a review I've done, Grand Theft Auto 6 still being on track, Overwatch Classic making a comeback, and some of Nintendo's Donkey Kong Country info coming out as well. But first, I reviewed a game this week that I was very much looking forward to. It's LEGO Horizon Adventures, of course. But before I share my thoughts, Shannon, I know you've been playing a little bit too. You just held up your Switch copy of the game there. How have you found the game first? I'm curious for your perspective.
It's a hard one. I think it's fun, right? Like, I think it's a lot of fun. There's multiple parts of it. Like, I don't think that we're the audience for this game, but like I have enjoyed Lego games in the past, and obviously I like Horizon, so I feel like it probably should appeal. I think it looks great. I think it's fun. Like, it was fun playing with you, and even though it took us like 3 hours to get going because I had my PS5 set to
Which is not the fault of the
interact
game,
with the
let's be
world.
clear.
No, that it was actually quite seamless.
Yeah,
it's a fun time. It's probably what I expected this game to be, although maybe a little bit less appealing, and I feel like probably a little bit less than they could have done with it. And yeah, I try not to think about price too much when I think about games because I think money is subjective to everyone, but I do think $100 for what you get is a little bit steep, given it is like aimed at kids. I think if it was a budget title, you would maybe be a little bit more sympathetic to it. But yeah, the fact that it is priced like Horizon Forbidden West would be, it definitely, the quality doesn't really speak well to Horizon or Lego, which you know more about than me. But yeah, I definitely felt like it was under-delivering in both fronts, which is sad.
yeah. Like we're sort of reviewing this, or we're talking about this now, like without having seen where others kind of come down on it. So I'm still very much at this point in time like blind as to what other people are going to note the score. I know we kind of differ a little bit on it, but I've settled on a 6.5 out of 10 for this one, which I think maybe our difference, which although like is not much, and I think our assessment of it, Shannon, kind of comes down to, I think like this game was kind of pitched as something that appealed to all ages. Like it was this kind of reimagining of Horizon Zero Dawn, albeit with these sort of Lego aesthetics and kind of drawing from like the Lego genre, for lack of a better term. And I just don't think it does enough to kind of add a level of complexity to it that would kind of keep an adult player intrigued, and I'm not even convinced there's enough there to really keep kids engrossed as well, bearing in mind like the suite of other kind of games you have on offer. And I think it's hard not to compare this to like the Lego games that I grew up playing, and it just doesn't have some of the features that I loved about those games. Like it's not nearly as much of a collectathon. I'd go into the nooks and crannies of the world looking to kind of break stuff and collect more studs or find the mini kits, that kind of thing. And there's just none of that really. You might come across the occasional chest that rewards you more currency and like some of the in-game power-ups and stuff. But like there was just not a lot of like stuff to poke and prod that I used to love doing.
The hard part, like when I think about what's made Lego games so good, is that it is about like collecting hundreds of characters from like Star Wars or whatever, and like they already kind of extended themselves here in terms of who's playable, like versus Horizon originally. So that was always going to be a tough one,
Yeah,
to be honest.
and
But that is what
I
it's missing, I think.
Yeah, I do like that. Like, there's 4 playable characters in this, and they each kind of have their own different sort of key weapon, and the power ups that you can pick up as each character differ as well. Which I like. It does kind of more than just like reskinning the character. You can do all that too. There's tons of different costumes, and they draw from like Ninjago and Lego City as well, and like the amusement series and all of that. So you can still get goofy with it. All that humor is still there. But yeah, it just doesn't, like, for instance, the example I kind of point out in the review, I remember playing Lego Indiana Jones back in the day, and you're hitting square. That never really changes. It doesn't change in this game either. But you know, when an enemy's at a distance, like, that's when the range attack is, and when they're close, it kind of responds dynamically, and you're kind of like punching them. There's neat animations and stuff. That doesn't happen here. Like, as Aloy, you only ever use the bow, and if they're a foot in front of you, you're still pinging that arrow at them. Like, there's no, like, her spear never makes an appearance. There's none of that kind of dynamicism to it. So just, and stuff like the stealth, like, they added the kind of long grass in here that's the Horizon series does so well, right? But like, you kind of get to fire the first shot stealthily, and there's an upgrade later on that does more damage. But as soon as you do, everyone flocks to you. There's no real opportunity to duck back into the long grass and
that part of the game. I don't know if I'm
like that.
I don't know if I'm as bummed on it for that reason. I think like it doesn't do enough with combat. Like, I think a lot of the like core parts of Horizon are there in terms of like the machine parts being taken off and focus. And I agree, like not having a melee like totally changes the combat and like makes it a bit one note. Like the stealth stuff, and I think that was more just like fun of having it like you disappear into the grass in a Lego fashion. Like I think it's meant to be simplistic. Like I never really saw there being like a stealth element to this.
I think that's like the crux of my criticism though. I think they they oversimplified too much of the systems
I agree with
for
that.
the sake of like boiling it down to a younger audience, that I think it just kind of loses a lot of the sort of adult fans
100%.
along the way. And yeah, like I'm obviously not a kid, but putting myself in the kid shoes and like thinking back to the Lego games I used to play as a kid, this feels rather bare bones by comparison. And yeah, like the mission variety is kind of not an awful lot. You kind of just rinse and repeat the same sort of thing across the 4 different biomes. Then you get like machine hunts, which are really just kind of dropped into arena, plucked from the story missions. Like, it's just very, yeah, it feels like the bare minimum to make the game sort of work, I feel. So I'm a little bit down on it, far more disappointed than I thought it would be. I will say though, it does look incredible. Like, it's the best looking kind of Lego game of this style I've seen. Like, it reminds me more of Lego Builder's Journey, that kind of more like artsy Lego game in its presentation. So yeah, that's definitely a strong suit, and they've really done a fantastic job of like adapting the machines into Lego form. They all work so well and it's very cleverly designed.
Yeah, I think, and the co-op, I can't remember if we said there was one other game that had online co-op or whatever, but it did work seamlessly. Like, you wouldn't have even known we were playing online. Like, it was perfect.
And it works even better locally as well. Like, it's very much a mirrored experience. Like, online, you don't have the advantage of like having your own screen and being able to stretch far away from each other. You're still tethered to kind of like the singular view. But like, that's kind of what I expected. That's how Lego games have kind of always worked, I think, maybe with the exception of some of the more recent Star Wars ones. But yeah, and the local co-op thing, it doesn't kick you back to Mother's Heart, which is like the kind of central hub area where you get all your upgrades and cosmetics and stuff. If a local co-op, you can just drop into the mission where you're at, which is very, very smooth indeed.
Yeah, I am eager to see what other people think of it. Like, I still think if you're a kid playing this with your dad or whatever, like, you would have a fun like 4 to 6 hour experience. I don't know how enjoyable
no way
it would be
I
for
would
the
recommend
adult.
this like over Astrobot.
No.
I'd recommend Astrobot every day of the year in comparison.
Yeah,
by
100%.
some margin. Yeah, James, you look like you've glazed over a little bit. Are you at all interested in Lego Horizon Adventures? Are you? I'm just piling it.
Yeah, right.
Are you gonna give it a go?
No, I'm not like rushing to play it.
Yeah.
I've like never liked Lego games heaps in the past, so I remember a lot of my friends, who were around my age, really were excited for Lego Star Wars Complete Saga or Skywalker Saga or whatever.
Did people like
it-
that? I can't really remember. Like by the time it
I think,
came out,
I think people like enjoyed it, but then it got too like there was like cover and aiming. It became a little bit less simple. But to answer your question, yeah, like but then hearing what you're saying is like it's missing a few things I kind of really liked about Lego games, like hitting shit, collecting studs, all of that crap, which was like the real appeal of those games.
Like the only things you break are like very identifiable barrels. Like it's this in each biome, it's the same barrel.
Yeah, it's the same.
like,
yeah. So I'm interested. I would love to know, like, I guess where all how long is it? Like, is it big or?
No.
like 6-ish, I think.
Yeah, I reckon it
first
kind of
game,
took
right?
me
Not
6
the second?
hours. Yeah, just the first game. Yeah, and it skips chunks. It skips like whole elements of the story, which I think it had to do. Like
Which they always do.
It's
though.
a very
Like,
complicated. Yeah. It's a very complicated story as well. So I think they do a very good job actually of like bringing it down to kind of its only the most crucial points and like focusing more on the character arc and the themes of it and bringing out the family friendly elements of it, I suppose. But yeah, it took me only about, I reckon, 6 or 7 hours to kind of get through the main story. And I think by the time you kind of do everything else, it probably net out around like the 10 to 12 sort of mark. Yeah, obviously mileage will vary. There are some like harder difficulty modes as well. Like I played it on just like the kind of middle one. There were another 2 higher than that. And like certainly some of the fights like took me kind of a few goes, like when you're just kind of getting overwhelmed by enemies. So I think if you do want a challenge, like that is there, but it's just becomes like you don't have a dash or a dodge mechanic to avoid any of the area effect attacks. It just becomes like a matter of scurrying away to get a bit more range on your arrow, and yeah, like the weak spots are automatically
really
targeted
like how
and
they
all that.
have, again, it does become repetitive, but I do like how they've adapted the machines into Lego form. Like that obviously just makes sense, just how the game works originally. And like the first time you see like the shell walker, is that the big crab one, and like certain other machines in the game, like it is a very cool moment. But yeah, I just kind of wish they did more with it.
Yeah,
Is that element there in the combat?
like
Can
the
you
weak
say,
weak
like-
spots and stuff.
Yeah.
Like shoot a gun off something and then pick that up and
No.
use it? No, nothing like that.
Not that far, but you can shoot the stuff off the things.
Yeah, like and like some of the attacks that they throw you away will differ based on what you've managed to knock off. Yeah, at least at the level I was sort of playing it though, like you'd kind of killed the thing by hitting the weak spots enough before that became terribly significant.
And how is performance on Switch?
I have not played that, James. It just arrived today, and I was
okay.
working very hard. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
well, as I'm
when the
well
review
aware
has
of the
dropped
work, so-
in the future, there should be. I've
We'll have a
seen it
note
running
on
on
that.
Switch, and it looks fine, to be honest. Like it does.
Yeah.
It looks like noticeably the lighting and reflections aren't there, but I think that art style works well for the lower res. Yeah, it might drop frames and stuff, but I think you're getting a similar experience.
Yeah.
No pro patch, which that is the reason I didn't play it, because it dropped, I think, the same day or the day after I got the pro, and no pro support at all, which is weird given there are 2 modes. So that's a fun one.
I played the bulk of it on performance, and I thought it looked fantastic in performance mode all the same. And yeah, that was my preference, but didn't have any technical issues with it at all.
Yeah, polish-wise, it feels like a Sony game, and everything else, it's just, the meat isn't quite on the bone.
I just feel like this just Sony can like miss opportunities with it. Like they could have maybe like given more time, whatever. They could have really done more with the combat mechanics and that kind of thing. Made it feel more Horizon-y than it is.
Forbidden
anyhow,
West
I digress.
Adventures. We can look forward to that.
Maybe,
to see
I hope
what's
so.
there.
Yeah. Brodie, now it is well and truly your turn to share your review, though. You played Metro Awakening VR. I think you've played the Metro games in the past and were pretty excited for this one, right? But what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, dusted off the PSVR 2 for the second time ever, so that was good.
The yearly playthrough of something.
Got it out from under the bed. Got all the dust off it. Yeah, look, it's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde situation, this game. Like, it does some things really well and does some things pretty poorly. Like, I think its ability to create that sense of place and have that atmosphere that the Metro games are always really great at. Like, it's really, really well done in VR, and it's a great application of that format. Where the game sort of does wane a little bit is in terms of any time you basically encounter any enemy and any combat situations, which is unfortunate because you do encounter quite a bit. Vertigo Games, who obviously I am very familiar with because I reviewed Arizona Sunshine, which is their other games.
Was that the last time?
That was the last VR game I
game.
played. I feel like from a combat perspective, that felt a lot more fun because, you know, it's just the shambling undead coming towards you. It's more like a shooting gallery sort of thing. With this, like, obviously enemies have guns, like raiders and all that sort of stuff are in the Metro, and they have just like dead eye aim, and they will just ping you through windows. And it's one of those things where, like, yes, you can bob and weave and you can try and pop shots, but you're not going to be as accurate as them. And like, ammo is so scarce that literally I just found myself like running into situations gung-ho, which is not the point, and just like running up to them and just like shooting them in the head, like at close range, just to try and negate these situations, because I did not want to be in these firefights at all. They do give you stealth options, which, you know, is viable-ish until you get to the point where you get up behind an enemy and you're supposed to like punch them in the back of the head, and I'd forever like misjudge the depth, or like I just wouldn't be close enough and I'd just like be punching at the air behind their head, and it was a bit of a shambles. So yeah, the combat and all that sort of stuff really felt a little half-baked, but in terms of everything they've done to sort of emulate that scrappy survivalist feeling of Metro, really mostly is there. Like you can pull everything off your pack. Like, you've got a pack that has like the little generator, hand crank generator thing that I would have looked absolutely ridiculous, like just in my lounge room, just like this. Or Katie's like looking out from the cranking it in the lounge room. And yeah, lighters and stuff that you can burn like cobwebs away with and all that sort of stuff. So all that's like really immersive, and the problem solving that they filter through the world using those mechanics is all really cool. The one thing that I would say that I did miss was like the sort of ability to like slap together guns and stuff from like found parts and stuff, which was a big part of Metro. I understand why they didn't do it here, because it would have just felt like busy work and a little clumsy in terms of like, you've already got to reload these guns, so to have to like, you know, like pop modules off them and stuff would have just been too much. Plus, I think they explain it away nicely that this guy is not Artyom from like the other games. It's his name's like Sadar, and he's like a doctor. So he's got no like military training or anything. Like, he's just thrust into this situation. So I think they do explain it away pretty well. But just on that, like, the story is pretty good. Like, it has a clear place within the Metro canon. But I do feel like like the twists in this game, like, I feel like they telegraphed them so much. I'm not sure they were meant to be twists. Like, it serves as an origin story for like another character that was part of like Metro in the earlier games, and I'm like, okay, this is very clearly what they're doing. And so like, to that point, like, I don't know if it was meant to be a twist or not, but nevertheless, it's still a pretty good story, like all about like this guy's, you know, want to find his family and like sort of help his wife and stuff like that. So plenty to like there. So presentation side, pretty good. It's just sort of the combat that really hamstrung it for me quite a bit.
It does look amazing based on...
It does look good. Like, it's in terms of like VR games, like, it's still up there, like, because there are so many almost like tech demo-ish sort of things out there still. So I'd say like, this is not like Half-Life Alyx, but it's probably, you know, the slightest rung below maybe Arizona Sunshine. Like, it's still up there. It's a fun game. It's just that combat struggles to find the fun all of the time.
I must admit, I'm laughing at the thought of you like trying to punch this dude in the back of the head and your fist
like he would have felt like the
darting off
like
to the right or
the
something.
tuft of air just go on the back of his neck, and he's like, what? Yeah,
Wild.
It was a mess, but hey, you live and you learn.
Yeah, 2 games a little bit let down by their combat today. That seems to be the common thread. Looking forward to games in the not too distant future, I'll say. Grand Theft Auto 6 is still on track for late 2025. The news came via a quarterly financial results update from publisher Take-Two, who confirmed the game is on track to hit the launch window of September to November next year, so our springtime. James, the CEO of Take-Two, Strauss Zelnick, seemed very confident it'll avoid delay, but how confident are you?
Pretty confident. I think.
There's
Believe in Strauss.
No chance you
Yeah,
think
like-
that gets delayed at this point? It's like locked in.
I mean, I think like they've been quite clever in saying it's just next year. They haven't set a date or a season or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
I think
It's
they
definitely
have. I
this-
think they've said fall,
Have they?
which is
Oh,
yeah,
well,
September to
we'll
November. Does that
all
change
over.
They've given
everything
themselves
for
3
you?
months.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
it's the end of the year, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like it's been in dev for so long, and the leaks a while ago looked pretty far along. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And for them to have
believe
like
that.
pulled the plug on the unveiling of it, like I just feel like there was no real pressure on them to do that until they felt confident and they were ready. Which isn't to say things don't go as planned, but yeah,
Well, normally, like leaks force people's hands in these situations, right? I feel like that still happened, and then
Fair
we
point.
still got to reveal ages later. So I don't think they care too much
Yeah.
on that front. I think they are doing things as they want to, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to double check when GTA 5 came out, and that was September time back in 2013. Would you believe? 11 years ago. I guess it'll be 13 years.
You were just
by
a boy.
The time comes out. I was just a boy. I wouldn't.
Were you
Yeah.
even allowed to play it day one? You
No,
were?
I was not 18.
Yeah, but did you?
Of
Yeah,
course I did. Yeah. But technically speaking, no. Funny story actually about the release of GTA 5. I knew my mum was not going to approve of me playing the game. So I
What'd you tell her it was?
I ordered it online and told her it was antivirus for my computer.
Well,
With
An
like, the
antivirus called
DVD
Grand Theft Auto
case
5.
rocked up.
Your poor mum.
Well, she didn't see the
You've just
case.
made
I
a
hid,
mug of her.
I hid the case. But I ordered it online. I was like, yeah, I just ordered some antivirus online. I don't know why I felt like I needed to tell her that off the bat. It would have been very suspicious.
She's like, that's a
but anyhow.
strange thing to just come and tell me right now.
Yeah.
probably just
Yeah.
thought it was porn.
Maybe.
Mum, it's just antivirus.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm cranking it.
It's even. It's like even more suspicious. But yeah.
Brodie, where are your excitement interest levels at for Grand Theft Auto 6? Are you hanging for it or you'll
No,
take it or leave
look,
it?
I'm not hanging for it. Like I'll play it when it comes, and I'm happy it's going to exist. But no, there's plenty of other stuff coming yet that we'll play Death Stranding 2 before that, most likely. So I'm excited about that too. Like this, next year is going to be off
be
its fucking
banging.
handle. So don't worry about that. We've got a lot of stuff to get through before we get to GTA 6.
It is interesting because I do think a lot, at least of us, are kind of a little bit sick of big open worlds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I'm interested to see if like this.
I think it's
How-
just so different.
It's not for us.
Give it. Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's for us 10 years ago.
Yeah,
It's also
maybe,
like
but-
not many people finish GTA games. I feel like
I guess.
it's-
Yeah. You're right. And there are people who literally just play like GTA, Red Dead, and FIFA. So this is an exciting time for them. But yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Like, what does a Rockstar open world look like 10 years on? That isn't just the same thing.
Yeah.
5.
I mean, I think like for so many people, it's a sandbox, right? Like, I want to go out and collect these cars and like get up to antics and like poke about the mini games and stuff, right? Like that, right? And I feel like the kind of next gen upgrade that this is going to get is just going to kind of take it in a new sort of direction that it will be kind of novel and exciting enough to people that they'll just kind of mess around with its systems a bunch. I'd be amazed at like, I don't know, I just feel like at the time Grand Theft Auto 5 pushed the boundaries of what we kind of thought was possible, like so much, that I just don't know if people, like it's fair to have the same sort of expectations again. Like how much more can the flip-flops flop, you know? Is there really kind of like any more gains to be found in that sort of element?
I think where tech has changed is like procedural generation and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
everyone having different experiences and like, yeah, a place being different the next time you go back and things like that. So yeah, I it's hard to
Might
be
just feel
excited
like
now
more
just
living
because.
world.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's hard to be excited at the moment. But I think once we start seeing more, like, or another trailer drops, or literally anything happens, I think there won't be too many gamers that aren't excited to see what it is.
I think what I'm interested in the most, and I think it's something that James brings up whenever we speak about GTA, it's how, like, in the current political climate, they're going to be able to make any sort of parody or like what the commentary is going to be around this game. Because I like how it's come full circle. I don't know if you saw the article during the week where like people kept bringing up how the lead didn't want to have to put this game out during a Trump presidency. And like he said that like 3 years ago when it didn't look like he would get back in, and now it's come full circle and he's back. So it's like this game will launch during a Trump presidency. So like it's hard to buy into the absurdity of GTA when we're living in it in a roundabout way. So yeah, I think I'm
it's
curious
also
to
just
see.
like if you assume there's going to be like a Trump type figure running the country, I would just be shocked if there's not something like that in the game. And if that is the case, what is Trump going to do? Like, is he just going to access
ban it?
Well, he hates video games as well.
Yeah,
he thinks that
GTA will cost $300 to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll only be good for Rockstar, probably.
Imagine if Trump bans GTA 6. That'd be amazing.
Let's not get too political on the Press Start podcast.
I think it's interesting because like maybe I think with GTA they're right. Like they just satirize everyone. Like I don't think anyone is safe from the satire that's in GTA games. And so maybe for that reason, it's kind of given a bit more of a pass. It's like if you sort of feel like you're being represented in a pretty dim view in the game, chances are a very different person down the street feels the same way. And satire has gotten away with that. Like I'm a big Always Sunny fan, and a lot of the fans of that show, I don't think they realize quite how much they're being satirized in the process of it. So the brand of comedy that GTA executes, I think it's possible for it to get by without offending anyone.
I think we'd spoken about that a lot, and people were really worried about it until we saw the reveal trailer, and then I think it really hit all the right points in terms of like just making it look absolutely ridiculous. I don't think I'm super worried about it, but yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't think anyone expected us to be back in this place. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what nuggets are in there.
Yeah.
In a world where I guess the people they're probably making fun of are the majority and won the popular vote. I feel like that changes everything.
Sometimes, like when you're scrolling through your reels or TikToks or whatever,
it looks like GTA here in America.
It sounds like the radio station. It's like some of the things you hear people say literally sounds like the jokes you would hear back.
Anytime you used to go to LA, like it feels like you're in GTA. Like it honestly, the radio, everything about it, like feels like you're in a GTA game. Like that is America.
This is why Shannon picks up so many speeding tickets while he's over there.
100%. I mean, you can't Uber anywhere without nearly getting killed, to be honest. So it is a GTA-like experience.
I've never strayed further than the in and out by the LA airport. I couldn't tell you. In the update, it was also revealed that Private Division, their kind of like indie publishing label, has been sold to an undisclosed buyer, which I thought was interesting. They've not revealed that at this point in time. They're going to keep No Rest for the Wicked and continue to support that. But otherwise, everything else that fell under the like Private Division to the helm is being passed over to this new buyer, whoever they may be. James, do you suspect we'll still see the new action-adventure IP Game Freak was supposedly releasing under Private Division? Is it like, does all other plans still carry on as usual, or does this put a spanner in the works?
Yes, it will happen.
Excellent. It's good news, everyone.
I don't even know Game Freak had something in the works with them.
Yeah, I think this was like announced earlier this year. It's like coming out in 2026, supposedly. I mean, that might very much be up for discussion, but
I feel like Private Division had games that weren't necessarily big, heavy hitters, right? Like they were kind of always meant to be a little bit of a, I guess like a, what's the word? Like a prestige label. But like, and then they're selling it because they don't make hits, and I'm like, but that was like the whole point from the beginning. Like, I don't know, like it's to me.
Yeah, it was like something different to your GTA and your
like wasn't that the fucking point? Like,
yeah,
I feel like they made pretty good decisions about like what games they published, who they partnered with. Like, I think they had some really good people there, so I'm surprised that they've parted ways with it.
There was still some like remember, was it Disintegration? That game.
I don't know. Maybe that's selling
big.
I feel like things like that, I think obviously would have hurt them a lot.
Was Roller Drone Private Division?
Yeah.
And then
That was the one that
Outer
got
Worlds,
shuttered, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Outer Worlds was a big one too.
Yeah.
So like it's like up and down quite a bit. So, but yeah, I feel like the whole point of this, like I guess imprint per se, was to have these kinds of these cooler games, more interesting artistic games. But
A private division, if you will.
well, yes, well, private doesn't mean good apparently. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
it's
out of all their games, like why keep No Rest for the Wicked as well? Like I don't know. I find that interesting.
it's a great game, James. That's why.
Wouldn't know, Ewan. It's not finished. I'm playing until it's finished. But we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of just hope they don't lose like their experimental sort of nature, like assuming this was the vehicle for that. Obviously games like GTA brings in just like a boatload of cash that I would love to see directed into some more, experimental, original stuff. But there's not to say
just
that they
more
can't
Rockstar
continue
games
to
at the
do
very
that.
least.
What, sorry?
Or just more Rockstar games than one every 20 years at the very least.
Rockstar Table Tennis too.
It'll just be like another decade of GTA Online updates. That's all.
Yeah.
And then
Maybe with the Red Dead 3 in the mix somewhere in like 7 years' time. Yeah.
no, bring back Bully or Manhunt. Even like Manhunt's a good example. Like Manhunt and Bully are both such smaller scale games, but still have that like kind of Rockstar, like not. I don't want to say humor because Manhunt is not funny, but you know, like like that vibe. You know.
Yeah.
I want to say like punk vibe. Like they just didn't give a shit what people thought. They just put out this game that like everybody really really meshed with, and they weren't as big as GTA, sure, but I feel like with how expensive games are and like how much risk mitigation there is now, like you're never gonna see something like Manhunt or Bully again. But I would love to see that out of Rockstar.
Yeah, I just think if there's one company that could do that, it's Rockstar. Like I don't feel like they're going to lose money on any of those games, and even if they do, it's fine.
Yeah. They'll just sell more shark cards, fix it right up. All right, getting to the second last news story of the day. Blizzard has announced that Overwatch Classic will bring back many of the original elements of the first game in a series of events. The first event will take it all the way back to the original 1.0 release from May 2016, including many abilities that haven't been seen in years. I don't know who's best to speak to Overwatch here. James, you played a little bit back at launch, right? Like, how do you interpret this move? Are they trying to earn some goodwill back from players? Yeah.
I'm a big Blizzard person, as we know, but no,
Big
Overwatch,
Blizzard day.
I played, big Blizzard day.
It looks like you got a Blizzard app in your room right now. I see. Have you got a fan going? Your hair's kind of got like a Beyonce effect going on.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that to my attention.
You know, like the stage.
Anyway, that was my desired effect. Anyway, I played Overwatch heaps when it first came out. So, but I thought that all of the improvements were good. So I don't know why I'd want to go back to Classic. Like, I'm not really nostalgic for a time when like all the characters were broken and it was fucked, and it just wasn't fun to play. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like over time improvements definitely made it better.
What was the game that
right.
just did this recently that they're clearly
World of-
inspired by?
I mean, Warcraft
Was it
does
WoW?
Warcraft did it like in
Fortnite's
2019
done this as well.
Fortnite was the one I was thinking
yeah.
of that went back to the start.
Yeah.
I don't have nostalgia for when these online games were shit. Like I genuinely think everything they've done since was better. I mean, up until Overwatch 2. So like I don't know. I think it's cool, I guess, but
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
A lot
So,
of
like,
people don't think that, right? Like they love, like a lot of people that played
I don't
Overwatch
know.
Day 1 aren't there now. I don't think. So I feel like if you're going to
Well,
try anything to get
yeah.
people in, it's this.
I hear what you're saying though,
And I hope
James.
they
Like,
stay.
don't go 1.0, but maybe like 1.2 or like 1.3. Like when
Yeah,
some
I
of the
don't-
balancing was kind of
like
more
I
at play.
even read on the site this morning that you can pick your whole team to be the same character again, and that was fucking awful whenever that happens. Like everyone would just pick Reinhardt and have Shield. Like it was such a bad time. Like
Yeah.
it was objectively shit. Like I don't know. I don't know they're turning that off later. But I just don't get the classic thing with these games. Like I feel like a lot of the time updates are shaped by player feedback.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to go back to that is literally a step back. So it doesn't make sense to me. And especially a game like Overwatch, where I feel like so much of it is still quite similar, like in terms of, like I know some characters like Symmetra had her abilities changed back in the day, but they were changed because no one was using, like no one misses them. Do you know what I'm like? It doesn't make sense to me.
That was gonna be my question, because I played a bit of Overwatch back when it first came out, but then fell off and never played 2. Are the characters all that much different, like in 2 versus 1? Like,
I mean, I don't know if you remember, but like Overwatch 2, they closed Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, everything transitioned over, and that was the same game. It was the same game basically, but just with a slightly altered art style.
Yeah, okay.
And a story mode, which then got canned, which made the whole move pointless anyway. But that's
yeah.
I don't know. It's just really odd to me. I get with WoW, like as time goes by, they add say new like abilities or features, and people are like, oh fuck, I loved it when it was like an RPG but simple. Like I get that, but I don't see the appeal here for Overwatch personally. As somebody who put like 80 hours into it in the first 2 years, which probably isn't that much, but yeah.
Yeah, I bet in hindsight they wish they hadn't ever kind of done the whole Overwatch 2 thing, and they just made it like a big update or
100%.
that kind of thing. Definitely a misstep, and yeah, I struggle to see it kind of climbing back to the heights that it once was. Like, the Overwatch Pro League is no more a thing, right? Like, you just don't... It used to be all, like, people talked about, like, within the esports space, an exaggeration, but, like, it was huge back in, like, 2017, 2018, that sort of era. And it is nowhere near that kind of level of renown nowadays, I don't think. And everything like has its moment, but yeah, I struggle to see it kind of making much of a comeback. But who knows? Maybe this kind of move will pull fans back in.
I do think of like WoW and how that has lasted so long. But I feel like that has always been kind of... It's had some slumps. Like Mr. Pandaria was like definitely a slump for WoW, but it still has managed to somehow come back and stay semi-relevant. Like, I don't know. A lot of my friends don't play it anymore, but I know a lot of people must, right?
Yeah.
But I just think with the trajectory of what Overwatch is doing, I think it's a little bit too much floundering for it to be as long term. Like, I can't see us having a celebratory Overwatch 30th anniversary stream coming up. Like, I can't see it being around that long. But Warcraft is a bit different,
Yeah. It's amazing staying power some games though. Like Counter-Strike always amazes me. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's consistency is a thing. Like it
is like nuts. I think, because when was that? Like,
but I guess Counter-Strike's had some revision sort of over the years as well, right? Which is maybe what kind of like Overwatch is looking to somewhat. I don't know.
I mean, that being said, like Siege was like 3 years later, in 2015. I feel like that's still going pretty strong.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and that came back as well strong. Okay, final news story of today. Nintendo has finally given us a deep dive into the next world, joining Nintendo World Japan, and it's none other than Donkey Kong Country. It's finally opening at Universal Japan on December 11th before beginning to come to other locations starting next year. Shannon, coming right your way on this one. What caught your eye in the deep dive?
The Rhino, first and foremost. What Rammy? Is it Rammy or it's Rammy? Isn't it? Ramby. Sorry, I don't know why I blanked on that. No, it looks cool. As I think we've all, except you, and been to Mario World now. It looked totally different. It looked quite detailed. Admittedly, Brodie and I's trip was quite rushed, so I don't feel like I took it all in. But it looked really cool and full of stuff. So I just what is the plane shop, Cranky shop, not Cranky,
Funky's
shop.
flying by.
Funky's
Cranky's plane shop.
Yeah, it all just looked really detailed. It's just cool to see something that isn't like Super Mario, and I feel like we've seen everything from that world for the last 4 years. So it's just nice to see them And I think we even saw this before Mario at the same time when the plans were leaked ages ago. So to see it in real life and have it be launching in a month is really cool. And the roller coaster like that, I'm not a ride person in that way at all. But like it actually makes sense. Like there are some rides and roller coasters that actually fit the theme where this is like literally that's what you did in the game for a lot of them. So yeah, I think it's cool. I just want more of them. And now like a whole theme park, Disneyland style of Nintendo properties.
The ice cream sundae looks pretty good too.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Maybe I'm just craving some dessert. Brodie, how high up your bucket list is a visit to Donkey Kong Country, do you think? You going to go back?
Yeah, like Katie and I have been talking about possibly taking the kids to Japan in a few years after we do our England trip next year. So, and she made mention, she goes, I'm sure you want to go back to Nintendo World. And I said, yes, I will. Yep. Thank you, dear. So, yeah, this looks really cool. What was that?
It'll never match the first trip, but she can try.
She can try.
Do you think you would try and like train the kids up a little bit in preparation, like get them familiar with like Mario and Donkey Kong prior to that trip?
They've got some probably passing familiarity with Donkey Kong at least. Like they've seen the Mario movie and stuff like that. So
right.
I'm sure we'll get a sequel to that that'll further jam it down their throats between now and then. So, yeah, when Eddie gets a bit older, particularly, maybe he'll play some Mario on the Switch or something. But
you probably want to train them for waiting in line.
Yeah,
yeah,
quietly.
Stand there and don't move for 2 hours.
Yeah. No, they're pretty good. They're good kids. They're patient for the most part.
I'm not. To be clear, I was not saying they weren't.
It sounded like you were.
Get your goods in line.
I would never make fun of Tom and Jerry. No.
What are their names, Ewan?
Yeah.
Cranky and Diddy.
Elsie and wait, do you want me to actually say them? Because I think I remember them.
We're not.
Yeah, just going to dox
Brodie's
the
children.
family.
It's like a what the wiki.
Yeah.
What the gibby.
I can beep those if we need, but I want on the record that I had them right this time.
This is exciting, by the way. I just wanted to quickly say, like, it's really cool. I went into Japan in April hoping to go, and then it got delayed while I was there.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. And then we already had a trip booked for next year. Now it looks like I'll be there when it's happening. So I really want
That's huge.
I really want to meet Donkey Kong, though. How big is he?
Huge. He's a big boy.
I cannot wait to see the picture of the two of you together now. That's going to be awesome.
Hopefully.
I can't wait for Shannon to spend another $80 on another power band that doesn't work.
I know.
Yeah.
That's still annoying.
No.
I can't believe.
Did you not
like a replacement or something? Like what?
He's 2+.
I mean, we had like 3 hours. We had to go to the airport, so I wasn't going to line up for 2 hours to ride
guess
the
the
Mario Kart
lines.
ride again.
Fair point. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you did deny me the perfect segue, but speaking about keeping kids online, let's talk about the Online Safety Act. It came up again this week in Aussie politics. Lots of politics discussions this week. This act, you might recall, may impact the availability of internet-connected video game services to those under the age of 16. Roblox, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, all potentially affected by this. My rapid-fire question for each of you today is, does it actually go ahead? Does this happen? Shannon, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it will. Otherwise, why would you go this far to yeah? And I feel like if it was going to be pulled back, it would have happened by now. I mean, can it go ahead successfully? I would say probably not. But like, will they try and do it? I would say yes.
James?
I think the intentions here are good, but I don't know that I don't think the way that it's going to happen is going to happen, like, at all, personally.
Yeah. Brodie?
Yeah, I think similar to Shannon. I think they'll try and implement it, but I just don't see how they police it, to be honest.
Yeah. I sort of feel like if it's going to work, it's going to be like Instagram, TikTok, that kind of thing. But I struggle to see them getting the game services all included.
Which already
as well.
have age restrictions for the most part, don't they?
Yeah, they're just
but
not.
do you have to
very well
actually
enforced.
upload? Like, would you have to upload an ID or something?
You would have
I
to.
think
They'd
they'd
have
all
to
have to, yeah.
integrate with some
I
sort
know
of
like fucking 18-year-olds that don't have IDs.
Yeah,
That's,
well, it's a problem.
Well, I know some adults who don't.
Well, yeah.
Like,
When I say 18-year-olds, I mean a 30-year-old that works with me.
Okay, yeah, sure.
18-plus-year-olds.
Yeah. Adults.
What like, and then also like, do they have to change? Like, these companies have changed their entire I don't know, infrastructure just because of us.
Yep.
Like, or do they?
And
do
then
they,
I
but
think
then-
it'll just be like they just will pull out of the market. I think,
that's what I was
'cause it's
literally about to say. Do they
they'll
just
threaten it.
Because like,
Yeah.
who cares?
And
Yeah.
isn't it basically effectively making you put all your information online? Or, like, can you be anonymous if you have to verify everything you do online?
Well, yeah, if you're having to upload like ID for the sake of verification in some sort of service, then there's a record of that somewhere, right? That's that was the trouble that Optus
hacker's
ran
delight.
into in their data breach recently, right? People had all of people's driver's license scans on record.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of things, if everyone who commented on our Dragon Age review had to upload their ID before they did that,
Maybe they'd think twice.
maybe the discussion would be a little bit different, you know?
I don't think
Maybe.
so.
But yeah, probably not. You're
James is
A lot
like
of them
down
would
with
stand
an
by it.
anonymous internet.
right. No, I'm not like that at all. But like, people are like pretty assholey when their name and picture is on their Facebook profile already. So
Yeah, I don't think this will change
Stop
that.
people.
It'll just be like
Yeah.
a verification step and like registering your account or something. But yeah, interested to see how it goes. Maybe this should have been something other than a rapid fire question. But now is time for What the Wiki, the Press Start podcast game show, where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page from an unknown game, and we the contestants must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, with the round concluding after someone's bagged themselves 2 points. As last week's winner, I am in the hosting chair today. Narrowed the lead to James, who's still pretty comfortably in first place on 38 points. I'm 3 behind on 35. Shannon is in third place on 30 points. Brodie, you're in fourth on 23. Kieran's in fifth with 10. And Harry bringing up the rear on 5 points. I'm already thinking I maybe didn't think about this enough and try and push it away from James in picking my games, but let's see how we go. Game number 1. The game is a platforming video game primarily played from a third-person perspective. The main objective is to recover stolen eggs, which are scattered across 37 levels. These
Shannon.
eggs... Shannon?
Spyro the Dragon.
It's not
Or-
Spyro the Dragon. No.
Oh my god.
These eggs are hidden or are given as rewards for completing certain tasks and levels. The worlds of the game are linked together by home worlds or hubs, large worlds which contain gateways
Shannon,
to
am I-
many other levels. You got a sentence, then you're back in. To proceed to the next hub, the character must complete 5 worlds, gather a certain number of eggs, and defeat a boss.
Shannon.
Do you have another guess, Shannon? Yeah?
Spyro 2.
It's not Spyro 2, no.
I feel like
Why is nobody speaking? I don't
because isn't it dragonflies in Spyro?
know.
I don't
No.
know, yeah. Well,
Shannon, I feel like they're tapping out.
I'm waiting for more information.
Yeah, there's another
literally.
paragraph, Shannon. You gotta hold your horses. Players do not need to gather every egg to complete the main portion of the game or gain access to new levels. In fact, certain eggs are only to be found by returning to the world at a later time. Gems are scattered across the worlds, hidden in crates and jars. These gems are used to bribe a bear named Moneybags to release captured creatures and activate things which help the titular hero progress through levels. Gems,
Shannon.
along with... Shannon. Okay. Shannon, what?
I don't actually know what the game name is though. Spyro the Dragon 3.
Brody.
I can't reward it, Shannon. I'm sorry.
I literally wrote
Brodie?
it today. I still don't
Is
know.
it like Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon or something?
It is, yeah. Spyro Year of the Dragon. Spyro 3. That's
Wow,
that's
wait.
the correct answer. Well done, Brodie.
Thanks, Shannon.
Just to correct the scores here. All right, game
Didn't know there was
number
eggs at all in that game.
2.
yeah, I thought it was gem. Like, well, he said gem.
It's both.
And yeah.
evidently.
Yeah, both, yeah. I think there's like a firefly that follows you about though, right? Like that is that not your helper?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, let's go.
The game was a racing game set in a persistent open world environment for free roaming across a scaled down recreation of the contiguous United States.
James.
Contiguous, is that right? James?
Is it the crew?
It is the crew. Well done, James.
That was
Spyro
Thanks.
Racing.
Game number 3. The game is a shooter game. Players primarily experience gameplay from a first-person perspective with the viewpoint shifting to third-person for vehicle segments. Players use a combination of human and alien weaponry and vehicles
Brodie.
to progress... Brodie?
Halo 2.
For the win. It's Halo 2. Well done, Brodie.
20th anniversary, baby, this week.
20th anniversary this week. And the E3 demo made its way to Steam, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Master Chief Collection on Steam, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, Brodie wins the round, up to 25 points.
Okay.
And James extending his lead up 39 points, back in the one
There
there.
was like no theatre in that round, in my opinion.
What do you mean
No, just me
theatre?
fighting with myself and then
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah. Were they too easy, the picks, do you think?
Mate, no, I don't know. Nah.
I think
don't
we're
know.
all just tired. It's low
Yeah, I
energy.
think it's very low energy tonight.
With that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listener or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at press.au and visit the site at pressstart.com.au. We've been joined today by Shannon.
Yeah, you can follow me at Shannon Grixty on everything.
Also joining us today, it was James.
Yeah. You find me an exit at James ATJMZ.
And winning the round, it was Brodie.
Yeah. You can follow me on most things at Brodie_DJ.
Are we deliberately just trying to have a really low energy end to this? Is this?
Seems like it.
And I've been your
Seems-
host, Ewan. You can follow me on socials at Ewan_Roxborough. Thanks
No one
again
believes
for
it,
tuning
Ewan.
in. And until next time,
No.
happy gaming.
Jeez.
Bye.
Bye, I guess.
Ciao.